Hello there, my name's Card. I'm a progressive community organiser and activist, and have been for about 7 years now. Today, I'd like to articulate something that I feel a lot of my fellow lefties could really benefit from taking on board. That is, the lessons we can learn from just how insanely popular the QAnon conspiracy theory got very quickly just a few years back now. This video won't be attempting to explain the open-quote law of QAnon, nor will it be attempting to account for why so many once normal, if politically disengaged people the world over became so alienated from reality they happily went all in on a 4chan LARP. What this video aims to do is to demonstrate just how much self-identified progressives can learn about spreading our message from looking at a case study like that. Because, quite frankly, if proselytizing people to a radical message is that easy, the fact that the only demographic the far left views have a consistently strong base of support among is terminally online Zoomers means that we're letting the side down hard. I say that in large part because I want this video to primarily be something instructional I can point back to in the future. But regardless of how you in particular made it this far into the talk, you might as well listen to the rest of it now. I've been involved with my fair share of independent little orgs, both established and new, that take themselves seriously and often have some cause or are running some event that warrants promotion. And quite frankly, the vast majority of them have had no clue how to accomplish that before I stepped in. That sounds arrogant, and it might be, but it's also accurate. So if you're a progressive organizer, or want to be, keep listening. The rest of this video will most likely be worth your time. I'm going to go over how you actually propagandize online, since most of my fellow leftists seem to have no clue how to actually use the internet. I'll quickly go over a few theoretical points, then I'll lay out a couple of real-life examples. First thing to mention, and most important thing to understand, is that none of your actual organizing happens online. None of it at all. It doesn't matter if your cause is land acknowledgement, peace in the Middle East, trade unions, save the whales, or anything else. You don't budge the status quo an inch by posting online alone. Evangelizing your cause doesn't mean getting into arguments about your conceptual framework online. That's just spinning your wheels and wasting everyone else's time. I've argued on this channel before that you can have a lot of fun cyberbullying reactionaries. And that's very true, but it isn't praxis. Any online engagement of yours with people outside of your movement should only ever be in service of getting real-world, in-person eyes on your org. You're not there to debate the merits of your cause, right, wrong, or otherwise, with anyone else. It should be pure, pragmatic promotion. Before you get online, you'll have a project of some sort already. And don't just meekly peddle it around whatever online lefty echo chambers you browse for fun either. You need to get it in the face of real local people who might actually be in a position to engage with you. Should only take about a half hour or so to do a once around all the social media pages, link aggregating sites, and public online forums for wherever you live. Be absolutely shameless about it too. Treat online spaces exactly like if you were posting around town and make sure to leave no wall underutilized. If you get banned, blocked, or filtered out, start making new accounts and just keep at it the next day. It doesn't matter if you're posting on some of the busiest pages on the web or on your small town's 200-person Facebook page. The internet isn't just an anonymous tool. Handle it with complete pragmatic disregard for what anyone else thinks if you're serious about spreading a message. And remember, ACAB includes internet forum moderators. Getting back to my titular point, look at how QAnon took off. It's the perfect example from recent memory. It came out of nowhere, created from whole cloth by some anonymous image board denizen, and for months was only ever being pushed by a handful of no-name people online, because those people were the only individuals of any stake in seeing it take off. And what happened? It became the biggest name in politics for one side of the aisle. There's no reason that something that emerges online, say today, couldn't go on to be the next big thing in a week's time. That's just the very nature of sudden internet virality. It would certainly be nice if we got some sort of progressive rally message to take off like that, and theoretically, it should be even easier, since any self-described leftist would hopefully know enough to avoid falling into a potential pitfall like advancing something like that just for individual glory or profit. Posting online alone will get you nowhere, but that isn't to say you should ever throw out the idea of internet propagandizing around your offline organization altogether, of course. But that brings me to the most important observation that us hopeful lefties can take from QAnon, that absolutely anything can become popular. Even something with as little basis in the real world as the Q theory. And surely, since we actually believe our message and have reality backing us up, it stands that we should be able to get a coherent leftist message popularized if at least one of us really puts some effort into it. Every organizational movement needs to spread its ideas to other people, just by definition. Otherwise, it's just the worldview of one person doing nothing. And regardless of what cause it's in service of, for every boots-on-the-ground activist, there's a logistician and a propagandist somewhere that got them to participate. But forming that sort of organizational structure requires no small amount of material capacity and directional competency from someone actually committed to seeing out the fulfillment of whatever change they want to see brought about. Unfortunately, the other significant factor weighing in here is the fact that those people, the competent and the positioned to potentially direct such a cause, are all too often either readily bought out, in effect, by capital's status quo tacitly comforting them, or otherwise cowed out of acting by a fear of state reprisal. Say what you want about the psychotic Q-pilled suburbanites willing to climb through barricaded security windows in the US Capitol directly to their imminent death by rent-a-cop. At least they were willing to commit to something they believed in. Western progressivism has scarcely seen anyone that committed to a cause and willing to actually do something about it since John Brown. I hate to say it, but the far left has really dropped the ball in the propaganda department if the only people to have actually pulled off attacks on the US Houses of Congress within living memory are the reactionaries. If the domestic middle class is apparently only a handful of schizophrenic Facebook posts away from being ready to march on the state, it might as well be for our side and not the bad guys. This isn't the first time I've addressed the practical effects of posting, while also noting that the terminally online aren't helping any cause whatsoever. But I will do it here again if I must. Avowed organizers on the left have very little idea how to practically propagandize. I say this coming from years of seeing failings in action at the local level everywhere I go. Frankly, if more of us took a more irreverent approach like I'm suggesting, we'd be doing much better. Look at how the local level right advertises. Easy slogans, humor, clickbait, actionable objectives, and clearly defined targets in their propaganda. And knowing you need to spam it absolutely everywhere to get your foot in the door. Keep it simple and repeat it often. I briefly outlined earlier that if you're a leftist spreading a message, you need to be shameless in spreading it around to pick up any traction. And I'm saying it again now, so hopefully the idea will stick with you. Obviously, I can't provide exact specifics catering to the current situational demands of every lefty group in the world, but everything I've said today will work broadly. If you're in a new, small org, struggling through the teething pains of growing your early membership, Consider this your wake-up call to reconsider your strategy of propaganda. Seriously, next time you're discussing this, whether formally or not, take the idea to rework your material to the rest of your group, and when they ask if you've got any better ideas to suggest, keep exactly 3 words in mind: simple and often. Knowing that it's really that easy to draw in attentive eyeballs to your messaging is the first step to embracing it as a tool. If you don't know me personally, and you watched this video because I linked you to it, whether soon after it's published or not, it's because I wanted you to do, and you did. If you watch this video and no one explicitly linked it to you, you just happened to find it out in the wild, then the extractive YouTube algorithms that be evidently decided for us both. Big name reactionary influencers already know this and use it to great effect in mobilizing their base of fans. People are fairly easy, generally speaking, to entice into watching or reading something you put before them, especially when those people are uncritically thinking reactionaries who'll eat up anything so long as it gives them an underclass to libidinally victimize. The organized left needs to become properly cognizant of the power in online propaganda and clue themselves into how to use it sooner rather than later. And I don't mean individual grifter pseudo-leftist entertainers that stream themselves day in, day out, speaking vacuously direct to camera for donations from teenagers either. Again, I'm talking about people who aren't practicing just aesthetic politics online, but the people who want to use modern methods of communication to maximize their ability to build real organs of social cooperation in their local area. Organizers in that position are the ideal target for this sort of messaging, and it's they who need to take the lesson of shameless, practical self-promotion to heart, since it's with their efforts that the needle of progressive interests can actually be moved along. That's all for today, so thank you for watching, and I hope you found something instructive in all of that. Once again, my name's Card. This YouTube channel is Card Posting. Feel free to like, subscribe, and share this video if you want to. Goodbye for now, and have a lovely day.